be all done in After Effects, so we're not going to use any vector artwork. If you do not have my exact fonts, do something similar. Make adjustments to the lesson to apply to your different text. That should be just fine. So I'm going to first go in, I'm going to make a composition. So before, when we imported assets, we said, hey, make a composition for us. Remember the composition layer or the layer size, and making those selections. When we're starting in only After Effects, there is no composition for us. It doesn't create one automatically. We have to go do it. So new composition, I'm going to call this Creative Loft. We're going to be animating my business logo. It's got a few fun opportunities to just teach you guys a little bit more advanced stuff. Animated logo. That's fine. A little bit wider screen. Cool. Frame rate good. 5.5 seconds. Cool. I am going to change the background to a mid-level gray. I want to be able to see some whites and some blacks when I'm designing. You can always change that as you go. Hit OK. Hit OK. Bam. Now, it's automatically now opening up this. If it didn't, you could always double click in our timeline. But there's nothing in it yet. It also looks ginormous because I'm zoomed in. I'm going to turn on my title safe. I'm going to grab my type tool, and I'm going to type out creative. I'm going to make it, I'm using Scriptina. If you have access to that, great. If not, use something similar. 280, because I want it pretty big. All these we're making kind of big. I can always shrink them down. I don't want to create a little cool animated logo and then have it all pixelated and garbagey looking. And then I want no tracking. Make sure there's no tracking on that, and that it's black. Okay, now the longest, hardest part of the whole thing is going to be masking out each of these letters. We're going to make it look like it gets written on. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to grab my pen tool. I'm going to make sure this layer is selected. If it's not selected, then I'm just making a pen shape. If it's selected, it's going to make that, it automatically knows you want it to be a mask. And we're going to use masks similar to how we did before to expose or not expose certain things. And then we can animate that. So creative is selected, grab my pen tool, and just start going. Again, this is the longest part of the whole thing. And you're trying to have the fewest amount of clicks with still getting the look that you want. And that kind of goes with any vector. Less is more. Okay, I'm going to click off. You can hit pen to like let it let go. You can always adjust these points after the fact. Like, see, now I can go in and kind of fix some of these funky looking spots that didn't necessarily type out the way I wanted them to. Just like you would a pen tool in any vector program, right? And it does not have to be exact perfect, but it should be pretty close. Definitely close. If at any point you release a pen tool but need to continue the line, what I find to be a little annoying, in Illustrator you would hover over, get a little slash mark, and be able to continue. In After Effects you have to hit Command to then continue going. Ooh, I don't want to negative that. Oh, hit Option and then continue going. So let me click off, show that again. So I'm off, there's nothing going. But now I'm like, oh, I want to redo that guy a little bit. Go into Option, click, hold a little bit, and then it'll let you keep going. I didn't need that, but I want to show you that point. So Option on at least a Mac with just specifically After Effects. Okay, I'm using P to like click off, but if I click too far off, make sure you click back into that layer before I start my next one. See how he's a different color, just addressing that this is a whole nother line, and that is fine by me. That guy's gonna come down. I can hit P so that I can like adjust him. If at any point I wanted to, I could hit Option and continue going. La la la, I'm not going to. Let's fix him again. Good. Okay, P, click off. Not too far. Grab my pen tool again. Go back in here. I'm doing this like how you would kind of naturally, you know, write this. Grab my pen, fix that guy. He's all kinds of wonky. You can always grab the space bar and move them around. I'm trying to get it pretty close, but I'm not going to kill myself over it. Okay. Next, I'm going to cross my T, pen, and then I'm going to dot, nope, undo, click off, whatever you have to do, go back to that. Now I'm going, see how that's the little mask icon that it's showing to the lower right, so it's like indicating, okay, you are doing a mask for this guy. Okay. That's pretty close. If little things bugged you like the E's and how they have that, you can go in and address those. I'm going to leave that for now. Okay. So far so good. I can see all of my different masks. That's cool. While my text layer is selected, I'm going to go to effects. This is a different option to get to effects. Again, I'm just exposing you all to lots of different versions of often the same thing, and you can choose what works best for you. So I can go up here to effects, and I can go generate stroke. I can get to the same thing from my normal one, my normal window that I had before, but okay, so now I have that done, and I can, I can see in here in my effects controls, make sure you've clicked over to it, lots of different options. So first of all, I want all masks. That's going to group all those masks together. Cool. Next, we're going to kind of like look at how the end value is at 100. If I change this down to 0, you see nothing so far, not a big deal. I'm going to set the paint style to reveal the original image. This is going to be a bigger one. Boom, so now it goes away. It's like reversing it. That seems weird. That's how they word it. I'm going to turn the brush size, so the stroke essentially, up, so that it is exposing what I want exposed. If it had been, let's show more and then you can see. So brush size is going to be kind of based on the font you choose. I'm going to go up to about 20. I can always adjust this if I need to. Cool. Now, I'm going to go back down to end. I showed it. What's cool, and you can kind of see that, oh, it's already starting. When you adjust this end, look how it starts to show each of those masks so nicely. Okay, so end is going to be at 0, nothing showing, right? Oop, make sure your end is at 0. And we're going to start a keyframe for this guy. Boom. Next, we're going to go to about 3 seconds. Again, this is workflow. What are you trying to accomplish to know something like that? I'm just going to change this real rough into 100. And let's just watch it. Let's just see what occurs. So it comes on a little funky right there. Draws. Draws. Crosses the T and dots the I. Now, some of what's showing so much is because of the thickness of the brush. So let's zoom in. You could adjust that. Let's see what that does to us. See, when I make it a little bit smaller, like it would show a little bit less of like that piece. And maybe that looks a little bit better. You're going to have to play with these kind of numbers when you're doing your own stuff. Moves on. Oh yeah, I like the way that cross and dots. And I know it shows a little bit, but it's going to happen so quickly that I'm just not super concerned. Boom. Love it. I did not address the E's. I'm not obviously concerned about that either. It's just the little dash marks on the E's. Okay, you could address that with your actual stroke line if you wanted to. Initially, I would let it go for this lesson though. Okay, cool. That part looks great. Keeping going. Make sure you're hitting save. Let's go save. All right, next thing, we're going to add the word loft with a very thick font. You can close these layers, grab loft, L-O-F-T. Obviously, I would not do all capitals with a scripted font. I'm using Abril Fat Face. If you don't have that, find another one that's very like fat and chunky. And then I'm going to turn it down to pretty big still. We're going to kind of leave it at even like 240-ish. Okay. We're going to go to the effects panel and I'm going to find, again, this could be done in multiple different ways. This is just a quick and dirty way of doing it. We're going to go look for slide drop. Make sure my effects and presets are open. Slide drop. Oop, he didn't come up. So do a little less. Less is more. And there he is. Under transitions movement, we want slide drop. And I'm going to add this just to the loft layer. See, I can see it here because my layers are the size of the object instead of the composition. Just be careful when you're doing that. You can also always address it there. Boom. And it's like, oh my God, it went away. Hit U to see what's happening. You're probably like, I'm panicked. Where did all my stuff go? And at this point, you can see that starting because we were here when we dropped it on there, 3 seconds, he comes in and boom. And that's fine, and he looks cool, but like, let's add a little bit of a bounce. We know way too much about how animation should be, that it shouldn't just like mechanically, robotically come down. I want to have like the slightest amount of bounce. I'm going to zoom into this exact little moment. I am going to I'm going to go about 2 frames, and I'm just going to nudge him up. So this is where I'm going to adjust this guy instead of positioning. So I'm going to change this to like 99. Like I want it a little less. It's going to make a keyframe. See how it's just like doot, doot, tiny bounce. I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to copy and paste because that's just easy. Now he's back at 100. And let's see. It's not bad. That looks pretty good. Let's zoom back out so we can kind of see how he works and the whole thing. Creative comes on. Loft bounces in a tiny, tiny bit. Cool. Very cool. Okay. We're going to make a shadow. Let's create a shadow. I'm going to make a circle and add a radial gradient. It's going to make its own layer. If you're on Loft layer, when you start to make a circle, what's going to happen? It's going to mask it. So make sure that you select off and then make a circle. I'm going to make a perfect circle. That just helps me at first. I find gradients to be pretty annoying inside this program. I want a radial gradient. Oh, that's fine. And I want, yep, And my colors, if you have to create it, just know you want both of your color stops, I call them markers, to be black. And then this is your opacity stop or marker. So you can change this to what you want it to be. 0 to 50 gives a pretty decent little shadow. Okay, now at this point I could do all kinds of things. I can just extend him right where he's at. He makes such a cute little shadow. But what I want to do now, let's close so I don't have craziness happening. And I'm going to turn on, hit T so that I can see the opacity. And what I want is him to definitely be 0 right about here. And show full layer as Loft comes in. Just like our bouncing ball. See? Boom. I mean, you could get real technical and go like a couple of opacities down, like let's say 95, just so you see it there, and then one more as it hits its final resting place again back up to 100. That's getting super technical, but look how fun that is. It just barely addresses that it's further away from where the shadow's going. Okay, cool, you're almost there. Hit save, make sure we're saving everything. We're just gonna do a really simple for design. Less is more in any kind of design. If I keep just throwing crap in here just to move it around, your eye's not gonna know where to rest, the focal point is gonna get lost. The interest is gonna be sort of overwhelmed. Your audience is gonna be sort of overwhelmed with things happening. So the name is Creative Loft Designs. I'm gonna be real simple with the words, with the word designs. All right, type it out, move it over, change the font to, I think Existence is the one that I've been using. Of course this isn't, oh, there it was. Existence Light. And what have I told you all? We're going to go pretty small, but we're going to go pretty big with tracking. Tracking can be up to even like 500. Let's see. Yeah, that's not bad. But much smaller. So my final design, again, and you've heard me say it before, anything that's animated should still be beautiful, static. So adding animations shouldn't be the only way you get something to look nice. It should look nice even if it was printed flat on a piece of paper. The motion to things should be beautiful little additions, smart, clever, thoughtful additions. It's like putting on jewelry. You don't want to just cover yourself in jewelry. Be smart and selective with what you're doing. Designing anything should be like that. Okay, so I'm around 70 and 500 tracking, and I am going to do the most simple, let's close these, opacity change right about hits, and he wants to fade in. So I'm going to go 0 here. I'm going to move him up to about 5 and 100. And that's really it. Writes on, sinks in, fades on. Oh, so nice. Cool. At this point, save, render out for submission, and I hope that gives you lots of different little ideas and options to animate your own logo.